We live in a brand-conscious age where you are what you wear, drive and consume. But brand identity can also influence senior executive pay, according to London Business School marketing professor Nader Tavassoli. He and his team compared the compensation packages of almost 3,000 US senior executives with the brands they worked for, and found that those working for the strongest brands were willing to accept at least 12% less in salary. I've come here to London Business School to ask Professor Tavassoli more about that research. Professor Tavassoli, if CEOs of successful brands are so willing to accept much less money, why do we constantly hear about ever-inflating executive pay levels?
Executive pay levels are high, there's no denying that, and there's many forces at work here. But while they might be in the stratosphere, they are grounded to some degree in strong brands. And they're being grounded because working at a strong brand provides all kinds of social benefits. It gives you status, maybe pride, and that is a substitute for pay. And strong brands not only have to pay less, they also attract better executives in the first place.
We've got a big brand story with Volkswagen and the emissions testing scandal. What does this tell us about brand and executive pay?
So the brand is tainted. And I feel tainted because I have a VW sitting in my driveway. But I'm just a consumer. I bought the product, I paid for it. Whereas if you work for VW, not only have you chosen them, they have chosen you. And they're paying you, and you also in some way contribute to the crisis or the quality of the product. So it's going to be a little bit harder for them to attract the right kind of executives, and they might have to pay a bit more to do so.
Does it mean that they focus too much on the brand image and not enough on getting really good executives?
Well, the brand image, it helps you attract the right executives, but it's really about the internal story here. And we read in the news about the consumers, about the recall, about sort of the public. But we don't read enough, I believe, about the damage they have to undo internally first. And I don't believe they can fix the external image without fixing the image internally first. If your own employees don't believe in your brand, good luck trying to get the public to believe in your brand.
Another of the findings in your research is that younger executives tend to accept even lower pay with top brands. What is this saying about the market?
So just last week, or just a couple of weeks ago, Deloitte announced they would stop looking at the school you graduated from, because maybe the Oxford and the Cambridges of the world are tainting their judgment, if you can taint an accountant's judgment, that is. And that just shows you the power of the brand on your resume. So younger executives, there's less known about them, so having a strong brand on your resume carries more weight. Also, they have longer careers ahead of themselves, so they are more willing to invest in working at a strong brand for less pay. And we even find this for CEOs. The younger CEOs are willing to accept less pay, and then we find that their next CEO job, they actually make more money because they have worked at a strong brand in the past.
So is this good news for the marketing department? So companies meant to be spending more on their brand?
Well, that's really the crux of the story. Right now, while we're justifying our spend as marketers to the CFO, the finance director, all we're looking at is the top line. We're looking at volume and margin. But really, if you think about pay, it's often the largest single item in terms of costs on the income statement. If brands can lower our costs, actually they contribute a lot more to the bottom line. So maybe, yes, if we're not looking at all of the returns, we might be underinvesting in brands.
Professor Tavassoli, thank you.